one thing that's really helped with parents in general is asking, like, right up front, what's the ultimate goal? Mm-hmm. Like, what goal do you have right now? Because if you can't tell me a goal, then we already have a problem. Mm-hmm. You have to have a goal, right? Like, I have a goal. I've got a goal for myself. I've got a goal for my staff. I've got a goal for all these athletes. I've got a goal for all these individual athletes. They all might be slightly different, but I've got goals. That's part of the job, right? Yep. If you don't have a goal, or if your goal is lofty, like if your goal is like, oh my God, we're trying to be at the Olympics, then I've got to tone you down. Right. If your goal is not specific enough, I've also got to tone you up, right? Like if your goal is like, I just wanted to have fun. I was like, well, so then why are you in my office complaining about a level? Right? So you've got to be like really, really, really specific about your goal, right? So what's the ultimate goal? My almost immediate response all the time is, my goal is to provide an environment where your daughter loves something, and she gets to explore that love in a healthy, calculated, as risk-free environment as possible. Mm-hmm. That last part, there's going to be risk. It's a hard sport, right? But that's my job. That's my goal in the immediate, like right now. Specifically, I don't really have a goal for your kiddo in terms of level. Mm-hmm. I've got a goal in terms of like work ethic. I've got a goal in terms of accountability. I've got a goal and I've given you a schedule that you have to come here for. So I'm expecting attendance. Right? Like there's a lot of different things that are already expectation based that are really easy to just show up to, right? But I'm not here to punish her either, right? Like if you're struggling to get to level 7 and I've provided everything possible that I think is the right prescription for the matriculation through the levels, and we're getting stuck. Trust me, I'm aware of that also. The difference between you and I, though, is that I'm not upset about it. Mm-hmm. You as a parent seem to, are coming at me with this already preconceived notion that repetition is failure. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even looking at it that way. I'm saying something's going on. Something's happening. I'm not even saying something's wrong. I'm saying something's happening. Somewhere along this building, the delivery of information from practice to brain, we're falling somewhere, right? So if it's the cast handstand, if it's a layout, whatever it is, I've got to be able to pinpoint where it is that the information is like falling through, and then I've got to try to remedy where the information's falling through, right? But it could be falling through for a multitude of reasons, right? It's not necessarily like my immediate Band-Aid fix, right? It could be because of a biomechanical issue that has nothing to do, like your kid can't stop it. Yeah, it's not something that we can control for in real time at the moment. It could be just a lack of effort on that event because they hate that event. Yeah. Right. It could be a lack of strength. It could be a lack of flexibility. It could be a multitude of things. But I've got to be able to figure it out. After I figure it out though, and we try to remedy for it, I'm not under the impression at that point that like, oh, now we have to move on, end of story. In my mind, if they repeat level 6, if they repeat level 7, whatever it is, that's not a big deal to me. Yeah. In my mind, it's already destigmatized. I've now just got to convince you that you shouldn't think about it this way. Right. Because her value is not predicated on what level she's in. Absolutely. Her value is predicated on what all the other things that I've accounted for. Her work ethic, her accountability, her responsibility. How she maneuvers herself in this building, how she finds what she does outside of this place. Right. Like so many more things are much more valuable to me than the level that I get to sign her up on as. Or the score that comes out of that thing that I won't remember in 2 weeks, right? So, destigmatizing a lot of those, like, for some reason, beliefs in a lot of parents' brain has been really helpful for me. Yeah. In overall dealing with parents and then athletes at large. I think in the previous gym that I was at, it was a lot harder for me to do that because I didn't have any control over the system. Right. I just had to say like, just trust me, in the long run it's going to be better. Like, don't think about it this way, don't think about it. But now they're watching the person in charge say it, and they're like, oh, okay, well, if he's not worried, then we shouldn't be worried.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's also a sense of like, well, he's also doing great work with those kiddos. It's not like the program's falling apart.
Right.
So we just kind of have to trust the process, right? Yeah. And therein lies kind of like a big saying in sports, right? Like trust the process, trust the process. And if I take any issue with that phrase, I do believe in it, but if I take any issue with the phrase is, but you've got to be able to tell me what the process is. If you just say trust the process and there's no process, then we're just frolicking in a building, you know?
Right.
As a coach, I to find it my responsibility to say like, here's the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got the process. It's step A, step 1 all the way to step 100. We're going through a process. But you've got to, you've got to trust us in that formula. And more importantly, my process is not the same as your process.
Right. As
a head coach, we cater to very different types of individuals, maybe very different family types, maybe.
Well, and our experience is very different.
100%.
Every kid that comes to me, for the most part, anything that they're saying they want to do or try to do, besides myself actually making the Olympic team, I've probably already been there, done that. I've done every level. I've qualified in elite. I dealt with the Olympic staff. I've been on a full ride. I've been in college gymnastics. I've been an All-American. I got the degree. I've been the coach. I've been the judge. I've been the mom. And so when I tell them, like, hey, there might be some things that are necessary and that aren't necessary, and I feel like when they see, because I'll get, all the time, oh, Coach Bray, I YouTubed you. I'm like, stop doing that. Like, I fell at that meet, but it's okay. We'll be fine. But they are able to, see me and they actually believe it. And then when they see someone that's like, well, I have all these hopes and dreams, and my coach has literally, done a lot of my hopes and dreams, and I'm going to trust that. And for me, it's like, I've been through all of that. And every coach is going to be very different in their processes too. And so for me, I have, different perspective on things, because I'm like, well, having been the athlete in that experience and now being the coach and seeing it, and also from a judge's perspective, but I also know from the mom, like I try to take all of those experiences as much as possible. And that's you're going to get a different, mechanism. And I think that's something I tell my gymnasts all the time, because they'll get upset. Like, they're learning fulls right now, the new 8s, and one girl got her full really easily because she's just good at twisting, and one girl's struggling, and I'm teaching this girl one technique and this girl a different technique, and I'm saying, like, honey, it's okay that I'm teaching you differently. It's okay you learn it a little bit late, because for so long I feel like in gymnastics it was, we have to get to the answer 4, and the only way we do that is 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, and it's like, oh, actually, you can get to 4, 1 plus 3, 5 minus 1. Like, there's so many ways we can get to 4. So as long as we're getting there safely and effectively, let it ride. Yeah. It's going to be okay, but just try it. Because right now, the answer's already no. You're already failing. Try something different. Fail differently.
I get from the kids, it's so funny. I get from the kids on a daily basis, I can't do that. And I'm like,
have you tried?
I'm like, well, I don't even say, have you tried? I always say, well, yeah, that's why we're here, right? Of course you can't do it. If you could, I would ask you to do something different, right? Because then you would already have that, right?
Right.
But so it's just funny, because I on a daily basis, I can't do that,
right?
Coach, I can't do it.
And that's such a kid thing. Like, it's just your little brain.
I know you can't. I've watched you try. I know you can't.
I've seen it.
I know you can't do it, but it's okay. We're gonna get there. You got to try again. You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly.